Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Nanmma Faith and Family Ramadan Session 4. The topic is Challenges Raising Responsible Muslim Children in the West. Our speaker today will be Sheikh Ahmed Kutty from Canada. My name is Afra Nirar from the DC area. Inshallah, today I will be serving as your moderator. Before starting the session, I have a small announcement. Nanmma Zakat team has started a collection of Zakat and Sadaqah for this year. 70% of the amount collected will be distributed within US and Canada. Please contribute generously to the Nanmma funds from your Zakat. The total session today will be 45 minutes, 30 minutes for talking, and 15 minutes after for Q&A. I request all of you to mute your phones and pay attention to the session. Some details about our speaker. Sheikh Ahmed Kutty was born in Kerala. He is a prominent North American Islamic scholar. He is currently Senior Resident Islamic Scholar at the Islamic Institute of Toronto and has taught at Emmanuel College of the University of Toronto as an adjunct instructor. Sheikh Kutty served as an imam in various masjids and Islamic centers in Montreal. During his McGill days, he held many positions at Islamic Center of Toronto as a director, imam, and resident scholar. Without further ado, let's welcome Sheikh Ahmed Kutty from Canada. Sheikh, you may begin.
Okay. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. Alhamdulillah wassalatu wassalamu ala Rasulillah wa ala alihi wa ashabihi ajma'in. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wa ahlul 'uqdatam min lisani yafqahu qawli. First of all, I praise Almighty Allah for giving us all another opportunity to witness the blessed month of Ramadan and to fast and pray and perform the devotions so that we come closer and closer to our Creator, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accepts our prayers, our fasts and charities in this blessed month. I also pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless our families and children and inspire us to remain steadfast following the straight path, the path of Islam, the natural way, the balanced way that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has revealed for us, for mankind, so that we can attain salvation in this world and the next world. The topic I was told to address is, first of all, what do we owe our parents? And secondly, how do we raise responsible Muslim children? To begin with, in Islam, family is the basic cornerstone or foundation of a healthy and peaceful society. Islam stresses building a strong family by guiding us to make the right decision, choosing the right partner, and also making sure that our home is a place of sukoon, a place where there is love and respect for one another, and there is remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and tranquility which comes as a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala when we celebrate His remembrance day in and day out. So in a family structure, we have different units, and the most fundamental unit is the parents, actually. Unit is the parents. And Islam, the Quran throughout, and the prophetic traditions, they stress so much of our duties towards our parents. You have that those beautiful verses from Surah Al-Isra, chapter 17, verses 23 to 25, in which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordains us to honor our parents. How do we honor our parents? We honor our parents by obeying them in all matters that are beneficial, as long as they do not order us to do things that are displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So we need to honor our parents, uh, and the word used in the verses, Obil walidaini ihsana, and excel in honoring your parents by rendering acts of kindness, by serving them, by respecting them, by talking to them gently, being humble before them. And you see, the expression is so subtle and so sophisticated. Allah says, وَخْفِضْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحَ الذُّلِّ مِنَ الرَّحْمَةِ, and lower the wings of humility, born of mercy and affection, in front of your parents. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala then goes on to say, وَلَا تَقُلْ لَهُمَا أُفٍّ, and do not even say a single word, utter a single word of displeasure. Uffin is an expression in Arabic. When you have this anger or displeasure with somebody, the words that come out is considered uffin, negative words. So any negative word, any expression that would hurt their, offend their feelings, is strictly haram to use towards our parents. وَقُلْ لَهُمَا قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا, the way we speak to our parents should be the gentlest of manner. Islam is so subtle and sophisticated uh, in insisting on this, because even when we speak to our enemies, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says we have to be gentle. So when it comes to parents, this should be stressed even more. Because remember, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered Musa alayhi salam to go to Pharaoh, قُولَا لَهُ قَوْلًا لَيِّنًا, Allah orders Prophet Musa and Harun alayhi salam to speak to Pharaoh gently. So this should be applied, and more so in the way we talk to our parents, our mother and father. And in Islam, the mother owes the highest respect and dignified treatment, even more so than we owe towards our father. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, first your mother, second your mother, third your mother. So that is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, throughout the Quran, Allah tells us this is the second foremost commandment in Islam. Even, in the famous 10 commandments of the Bible, the second commandment is to honor thy parents. And this is reiterated, emphasized over and over in Quran as well, because all other prophets that Allah sent, they were ordered to treat their parents with utmost respect and serve them most honorably, even if they are non-Muslims. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam considers, therefore, disrespecting parents as the second deadliest sin. Ala unabbiukum bi akbar al-kabair. In a famous hadith authenticated by Bukhari and Muslim, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam asked his companions, "Shall I tell you the three deadliest of sins in Islam?" Then he said, "Al-ishraku billah." The first is to associate partners with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then he said, the second is uququl walidain, displeasing or dishonoring one's parents. And he then said another time, la yadkhulul jannah aqun, somebody who is displeasing, guilty of dishonoring his parents, cannot hope to get to Jannah, paradise. So the foundation of the family is what we owe towards our parents, and of course we owe them respect and dignified treatment. We need to take care of them, as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, when our parents get old, they deserve even more respect and honorable treatment from us. And of course, when parents get old, surely they become irritated, and they irritate us by the way they talk and do things. But we must put up with them, and we need to tolerate them. We have to remember, while doing so, we need to remember how they took care of us with love and mercy and tenderness when we were misbehaving as little kids. And Allah reminds us, to pray for them always. وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا, and say, my Lord, have mercy on my parents, even as they had mercy on me when I was little. This is the Quranic way of reminding us that we cannot abandon our parents when they get too old and we are not able to take care of them. And actually, this is one of the greatest challenges taking place all over the world. Our India was free of this kind of rude behavior, but now it is becoming rampant. And I read a very, very sad news story in one of the newspapers in Toronto a couple of years ago. Uh, the children, one son brought one of famous person brought his parents from India, and used them to take care of his children. And when the children became independent, they did not need the service of the parents. They abandoned them and they ended up going back to India. And actually, this sad story was reported in the press. And this is one of the many examples I have witnessed as an imam in this community, where we live when the parents are too old, we abandon them to nursing homes or care centers where they live alone and die alone. And then, of course, we may uh, attend the funeral. And actually, this is a very sad thing, and we should avoid that in the Muslim community. Of course, sometimes we are working, most of us are working, and therefore it is hard for us to pay full attention, to be there 24 hours. But we must make sure that even if we were forced to, you know, use the facilities, nursing home facilities, we should surely be there, at least spending time with them every day as much as possible. Even if it's limited hours, we need to do that. I remember one of the pioneers in our community in Montreal, he died all alone in a nursing home in Toronto. I remember this man working hard for the community and taking care of his children, but he was left to die alone. And then, of course, the children came when he died to perform the funeral rites. This is a very sad story. This should not be repeated in our community. So, Nanmma, it is the duty of organizations like Merchant Foundation and Nanmma and other Islamic organizations that we need to stress the extreme importance of honoring our parents, even if they are non-Muslims. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if they are non-Muslim, you still owe them, respect. You owe them to take care of them, but you should not obey them if they tell you to do things that are displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but deal with them most honorably in matters of this world, meaning serve them well, do everything that you can to make their life as happy as you can make it. And another issue when dealing with the parents is many times we think there is a conflict between our duties towards our spouses and duties to our parents. Actually, there is no conflict. They are not rivals. We should be able to balance, because it should not be an issue whether you prefer your parents over your spouse, or your spouse over your parents. You should be able to balance it. And wife or husband should be able to understand the seriousness of our duty towards our parents in the case of husband as well as in the case of wife. Both sides, it should be a two-way traffic. If husband want his wife to respect his parents, she has a right to expect the same from the husband. So it should be a two-way traffic. It should not be selfishness on the side of husband or selfishness on the side of the wife. And now, so once we understand this as the important thing in the family structure, the next thing is we need to ask the question, what do we as parents owe our children? As I mentioned, in Islamic understanding, the house is where there is unconditional love and attention given, selfless attention towards one another. Husband and wife should be devoted to each other. They should be caring and sharing. They should respect each other. They should love each other. And when there is mutual love and affection between spouses, children will experience it. When there is love at home, there is peace at home, and the children are breathing this air day in and day out. Surely they will develop that confidence, and there cannot be confidence. There cannot be peace in the mind and the heart of a child if there is always rivalry and competition and infighting going on between husband and wife, between father and mother. So we need to ensure that what kind of a home that we are providing for the nurturing of our children. A child is a gift from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and we need to appreciate this is an amana. And there is a beautiful hadith in which Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam explains the duties, mutual responsibilities of each member of the society. He said, "Kullukum ra'in wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyyatihi." Every one of you should consider himself as a shepherd, responsible for the well-being and the welfare of the flock under his control. Meaning, everyone is responsible for the care of those that Allah has entrusted to his or her care. And he said the husband is a responsible leader and wife is a responsible leader. And the Prophet said a servant or employee is a responsible leader. So in regards to the responsibilities entrusted to them, so they are responsible to discharge the duties as efficiently as possible. And in the case of discharging our responsibility towards our children, the most important thing we must remember is the Islamic way of teaching our children has two aspects. One is ta'aleem, which is imparting theoretical knowledge. The other is tarbiyah, mentoring. And actually, in Islamic scheme of things, mentoring, providing exemplary model, parents should be serving as model. For the father should be a model, mother should be a model, exemplary for the child. And even as Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the super role model for us. لَقَدْ كَانَ لَكُمْ فِي رَسُولِ اللَّهِ أُسْوَةٌ حَسَنَةٌ. You have indeed a beautiful role model in Allah's Messenger. Actually, the way Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught people was through example. As Anas bin Malik radiallahu anhu said, Anas was a boy of 10 years old when his mother came to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and told him, Rasulullah, every family in Medina has given you a gift. The best gift I can give you is let my son stay with you to help you in doing the chores for you. And so he came to the care of the Prophet at the age of 10 and served the Prophet ﷺ for the next 10 years until Rasulullah ﷺ died. And Anas bin Malik has utmost love and respect for Rasulullah. You cannot imagine the love that that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, had for Anas, and because of that, Anas, had so much love, indescribable, and you can write a beautiful seerah of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam by analyzing the traditions reported by Anas bin Malik about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his character. And this young man said, I served the Messenger of Allah 10 years, and during the course of these 10 years, he never condemned me for something bad I did or something good I did not do. So you may ask, how did Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam teach this young man? It's through example, actually. He taught him through example, and that is why the maxim says children learn what they practice. So if we practice love and selflessness, sacrificing for others, and altruism, and compassion, and generosity, and remembrance of Allah at home, and that is what our children will be learning, inshallah. Of course, there will be exceptions because each person has a choice to make, but you have to do your part of making sure that your child learns good morals, good character, and breathe the air of remembrance of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and love and mercy from the parents. And once they have this foundation, and then the other thing follow. The next thing is, even as parents have to take care to providing a happy and content and peaceful home. We need also to make sure that our children are interacting with community. We cannot, one of the greatest dangers of facing Muslim families here, Muslim individuals here in North America is we are influenced by the individualism of this milieu. People, who just individuals all thinking for themselves, they don't care for others, they don't relate to the community, they will end up lonely. And actually, studies after studies in North America shows that people who do not have this relationship with the community, a healthy relationship with others, they will end up, in anxiety and loneliness. And this is a virus that is also infecting Muslim community and Muslim individuals. And the reason for that is, we don't relate to others. Malayalis keeping by themselves. Of course, we should be relating to the Malayali community, Muslim community, but at the same time, we should also be involved in the masjid, regardless whether it is run by Malayalis or not. Our children should be involved there. You should be involved there and taking part as volunteer as well as in all other activities. Once we provide this kind of a milieu for our children, they will feel part of a community, and they will be building that. We need also to give them that responsibility. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam trusted the youth. Actually, this is a beautiful example of the Prophet mentoring a new generation of leaders. He gave that confidence to Usama, to Ali ibn Abi Talib, and Mu'adh ibn Jabal, and all others. They were young people, and the Prophet ﷺ trusted them. So the same way as parents, we need to trust our children and give them responsibilities, and develop that confidence in them, so that they excel in the work they do, in their studies, as well as in serving the community. And we need to teach them, through examples. When we take them to the masjid, even as you are giving that donation, let your child also be inspired to give donation from their own hard-earned money. And don't teach your children to be freeloaders. We have seen people who come here and then instead of doing hard work, they want to go for welfare or unemployment insurance. Of course, sometimes we cannot avoid it temporarily, but don't teach your children this habit, because in America they have cases of generations of people on welfare. Great grandfather is on welfare, grandfather is on welfare, father on welfare, children on welfare. We should not teach our children to be parasites on the society. Of course, I am not against those who are forced to take it for exceptional cases. That is something allowed. But we should not, if we have a choice, we should teach our children to be self-reliant. Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "Al-yad al-ulya khayrun min al-yad al-sufla." A giving hand is better than a receiving hand, and that is why, look at the beautiful example of the Messenger of Allah. People would come asking favors from him, and one man came more than once, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam told him, let me tell you something better. Why don't you go to the woods and gather woods and sell it in the market, and thereby learning to support your self-esteem. And actually, this companion never ever asked anyone, and he would refuse favors, dispensed to him even by the caliphs, because he learned the lesson from Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the greatest mentor that the world has seen. So this is an example for us as parents to teach our children self-reliance and also giving to the society, contributing to the society. It's a very, very important thing. And another important thing I want to bring to your attention is, don't expect your child, to learn everything by himself. He need to also keep a good company. People, as Imam Ghazali rahmahullah said, your friend, you steal the traits of your friend. The more you sit with a person, if that person is a bad person, sooner or later you take on those traits of character. And you will see it all around us. Kids who were good and very, very honorable kids, very dignified in their behavior, they hang around with the bad crowd, wrong crowd, and then suddenly, gradually, they become corrupt, and they become, a nuisance for their parents. And this is all the time happening in the Muslim community. And the reason is, we don't allow our children to interact with the Muslim children. There are a lot of activities going on for the Muslim youth in various Islamic centers. And so choose which one is the best, because there may be some programs which may not be balanced, which may not be moderate, which may even tend to be extremist. Avoid them like plague. But there are a lot of activities organized by MSA and other, student organizations, as well as proper Islamic centers, which is, you should send your children to those camps and let them participate, let them play with Muslim children of their age group, and then also keep the company, because عن المرء لا تسأل وسل عن قرينه فكل قرين بالمقارن يسبو. Don't ask a person who is he, but ask who is his friend. Because we become, like our friend, we copy them, we emulate them, we imitate them. So this is an important thing. And also another important thing I have to bring to the attention of parents is, in Islam, nature, interacting with the nature is very, very important. Unfortunately, today, kids spend most of their time on devices. How do we wean them away from the devices? One of the best way is to make sure your children are engaged, our children are engaged in positive works, beneficial projects, which will motivate them to which, where they can excel. Give them a responsibility to do something for themselves and for the community. And when they are occupied and they are one project, they succeed, they take on another project, and their mind is occupied. Of course they won't have much time to be spending on chat rooms and internet, unnecessary Facebook and other social media. Of course we cannot avoid social media. That's not what I'm saying. We need to make sure that our children have priorities, and the priority is to spend the time profitably, because after all of us will die. At the time of death, what matters is how you spend your time. What did you do with your lifespan? Surely I will be questioned about it. So we don't have time to waste. We need to prioritize, and we need to spend our time on projects that are beneficial. Imam Shafi Rahmullah said, if the mind is not occupied with beneficial projects and deeds, Shaitan will make sure to occupy your mind with his project, with his work. And that is what we are seeing all around us. Children brought up in very good homes, they are now lost because we did not teach them how to swim. ألقاه في اليم مكتوفا فقال له إياك أن تبتل بالماء. When I think about the way we teach our children, this is, as an imam, this poem came to my mind. The poet says he tied him his feet and legs and hands, and then dumped him in water and told him, don't get wet. And this is the way we are uh, dealing, doing our work of parenting. Actually, we cannot do that. We cannot expect our children to be responsible Muslim children, good citizens, unless we teach them how to do it. And how to do it is through practical examples and making sure they interact as healthy members of a viable Islamic community, and also when they keep good company, and also involve them in projects, making sure they prioritize their time and resources accordingly. These are some of the thoughts. So let me recap my lecture. In Islam, our responsibility towards our parents weighs very, very heavily. It comes next to our duty to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our duty towards our parents, our father and mother. And of course, there is no conflict between what we owe our parents and what we owe our spouses. Spouse, whether you are a husband, whether you are a wife, you should know this, because this man that you married, he is not a mushroom. He comes from a family. And of course, the same way husband should realize this woman that you married is not a mushroom. She comes from a family. So there has to be this mutual understanding. Even as you have duties towards your parents, she has duties towards her parents. So treat her parents as your parents and treat his parents as your parents. And this is the Islamic understanding of the family. Of course, there will be challenges. Sometimes parents may be, irritating. They may be not be very, very honest, may not be, doing their part. But we need to be patient, because with patience comes success, inshallah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whatever sacrifices we have to make, whatever trials we go through in balancing it will be paid, double later on, inshallah. But at no time we should be abandoning our parents, neglecting our duties towards them, even if they are non-Muslims. Of course, we should not be obeying them if they order us to do things that are displeasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, displeasing to Allah. And the other point is the parenting. The heart of parenting is providing a peaceful home and let them experience that unconditional love which they see practiced at home, and also let them see the respect that each member of the family have for one another. The parents respecting the children, children respecting the parents, a father respecting the mother, mother respecting the father, and grandparents and aunts and uncles and brothers and sisters. This should be the ideal Muslim home. And the second point is viable interaction with the community and taking part in the activities of the mosque and the Islamic center, and also as when they get to the university or college, they should be part of the MSA Muslim Student Association and taking part in the activities, and also they should take part in the volunteer in the community, wider community, in the community center, in soup kitchen, and of course in the hospital. There are a lot of opportunities for us to take part, volunteering opportunities, and of course in this way our children can develop that leadership skill. And of course another important point is making sure the influences, the friends they keep, and also how they spend their time. Children we should make sure that our internet is protected, is child proof. They don't visit the kind of course, a lot of extremism, violence. Muslim children get recruited by. We hear this story. Actually, most of this takes place, as I said, when I was interviewed by the American, border security. I told them, look, I know of no any imam. I don't know of any imam in any of the bigger masjid that I know preaching extremism. So they asked me, where do they get this? I said, they get it from the internet because there are self-styled teachers. So one of the points we need to emphasize is don't let your child learn information about Islam from the internet. Internet is not the source unless you know this website is run by a reputable Islamic scholar who not only knows the Islamic sources but also knows the milieu. Because a mufti from Saudi Arabia, you cannot ask him a question for issues affecting Muslims in North America. And that's why in the Hanafi school, a mufti can only give fatwa in a milieu if he has lived in that milieu and is familiar with the customs of that milieu. So we cannot ask fatwa from an Indian mufti who never came to North America or live here about issues affecting Muslim community in North America, affecting our children or adults in North America. I am not talking about ibadat. Of course, ibadat, some of the issues they can answer. So the same way, we need to make sure that these channels they are visiting are reputable, authentic, providing authentic information. Because even as you choose a physician, for his credentials as a doctor, we need also choose a mufti or a scholar for his credentials, not only academic background, but also his reputation as a person who can dispense with that knowledge in an authentic way. So I have spoken long. Inshallah, I would like to stop here. I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Allah accept from us our fasts and charities and devotions in this blessed month. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspire us to do our responsibilities towards our parents as well as our children. I want to remind you the way you treat your parents, that is going to be the way your children are going to treat you. So be careful how you treat your parents and let your children hear you. If your parents are dead, let your children hear you making supplication, let them join. Because if they practice this, inshallah, we can hope they will do the same. They will pray for you when you die. And they will, inshallah, take care of you when you need that care and attention. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless us all. May Allah accept the best of our deeds and forgive the worst of our sins. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين. I stop here. Anybody, if there are questions, inshallah, I will try to answer, inshallah.
Jazakallah khair, Sheikh Ahmed Kutty, for a wonderful talk. May Allah give tawfiq to every one of us to implement this into our lives. Ameen. Brothers and sisters, let's open the session for Q&A. At this point, I would like to remind you to keep your questions contextual to the topic. You can also email your questions and comments to media@nanmaonline.org with the subject as faith and family Ramadan session 4. So let's start with the first question.
Assalamu alaikum. Jazakumullah khair, Sheikh. This is a wonderful topic. May Allah help all the parents to implement to the best of our children and the best of the community. Can you give a little bit insight into the teaching the children on the manners, because this is an issue in our community, that because of the less interaction or the children too much engaged in or isolate themselves with the games, etc. So they don't interact much on the social side. So can you give us how to improve the socialization for the children, especially here in Canada and in the West?
I could not really hear the question properly. Can somebody repeat it clearly? I don't know, because of the mic or whatever. Can you?
Okay.
Yes.
Can you hear me now? So how to improve the manners of the children, especially here in the West, because the children are more engaged and isolated, spending more time with the game, or they stay themselves. They don't interact with the families or the gathering. So how to, instead of going for the teachers to learn the proper manners, how as a social system, how we can raise our children with good manners?
Well, they should learn the manners at home as the children grow up. From even the little age, we should teach them table manners. We should teach them, how to, when somebody comes home, how, to greet. We should show them through our own examples, inshallah, and we should make sure that the children don't eat by themselves. They eat with the family, and this is something I have seen. Parents, sometimes father goes with the food and eat by himself, or mother goes, but we should be sitting together and eating as a family. And of course, while doing so, we should teach them table manners, also teach them how to start eating, and then how to thank Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala after we have finished eating. And this is one, of course, every single manner in Islam should be imparted by practice, inshallah. This is how Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught his companions, by through practical example, by doing it himself. And he used to say, learn it from me, pray as you have seen me praying, make wudu as you have seen me make wudu. So we engage them, we, we teach them through practical examples. And of course, then we have to make sure to reinforce it through, classes. But unfortunately, in the mosque system, the whole emphasis is on reciting the Quran and rote learning of the Quran. And actually, we should insist that, that our children goes to a teacher who teaches them the manners. If you look at the example of Imam Malik, his mother tells him, send him early morning to the teacher and said, learn from him the manners before you learn anything else. So these manners they learn at home should be reinforced by the teacher. If we don't have this arrangement in the masjid, the parents should get together and make sure that somebody is there to teach the children the basic Islamic manners. And there is a wonderful book out there by Abu Ghudda, it's in English. It's a little brief booklet, and everybody should get it. And this lists some of the basic manners, and of course, parents can learn it and practice it. And it should be also
if there aren't any more questions, we'll continue. Jazakallah khair, Sheikh, for addressing.
Can I say one thing, inshallah?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would invite you to visit my askthescholar.com website, and also I give live fatwa on aboutislam.net. There is one fatwa session coming this Saturday, inshallah. I do offer live fatwas on aboutislam.net, and I also, visit my answers on askthescholar.com. There are a lot of answers there, hundreds of them, inshallah. I would urge you, invite you, inshallah, to visit them, inshallah. And I pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to bless us in our time and to accept all of our good deeds in this blessed month, so that we come out of this month, our necks freed from hellfire and admitted into the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Ameen. Jazakallah.
Thank you.
Barakallah.
On behalf of the Nanmma Faith and Family, we would like to thank all attendees for the participation for today's session. Please fill out the survey posted on Nanmma website so we can continue to serve you well with improvements to the program. Inshallah, next week, Brother Said Maulavi from California will be presenting the topic, Understand My Religion, My Creator, and My Destiny. We will be uploading the audios of all the sessions at the Nanmma website and are planning to continue these programs after Ramadan. Looking forward to your inputs towards this session. Jazakallah khair for being patient and a wonderful audience. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Jazakumullah khair.